Hey, everybody, welcome back once again. It is that time of week where we get into the silver bullets for BuckIQ with Zach Boren. There is nobody better, and especially on the heels of a 56-14 win for Ohio State, we're going to ramp it up with Zach looking at a defense that is now number 7 overall in total defense, Zach. So all this conversation, top 10, top 5, wherever, I didn't even think that was going to be necessary, but the Buckeyes are living up to it with 2 weeks left in the regular season.
They are living up to expectations. Everything that, Buckeye Nation had talked about this offseason with what Jim Knowles is going to bring to the defense, the, different mentality from the bend and break that we bend but don't break from the past couple of years. I mean, this defense, Jim Knowles hit the nail on the head earlier this year. Ryan Day asked for a top 5. Jim Knowles said, no, we want to be top 5. Or Ryan Day said top 10 and Jim Knowles says top 5, right? So, man, it's exciting to see this silver bullet defense fly around and make some plays, and they've got 2 more weeks to go.
Zach, as you've watched it, and I think I probably asked you this about a month ago, where it was like, do you see new things being involved, new looks? And Jim Knowles has, he's been publicly pretty transparent about this, that it's not 100% in. He's got stuff in the bag that he's saving, maybe not necessarily for Michigan, but just the way it goes with installing a scheme. How much are you seeing now as you get into this latter portion of the season that is different from even a month ago, let alone 2 months ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different. I think you've seen it kind of the transition throughout the entire season from, the first couple weeks of the season. It was very much just Jim Knowles' bread and butter defense. Basic, letting the guys play, get an understanding, gain some confidence. And then through the middle part of the year, you saw them start blitzing the linebackers a lot more, right? Tommy Eichenberg, Steele Chambers, they were bringing a lot of pressure. Now you're seeing pressures from the secondary. Now you're seeing the safeties blitz a lot more. Obviously, Lathan Ransom, who we're going to look at some of his stuff today, has been making a bunch of plays. Ronnie Hickman's been showing some blitzes. And the other thing that you're seeing that we haven't seen in a long time are almost run blitzes. So from the past with this Ohio State team in running downs, we hardly ever saw run blitzes. It was basically play your standard defense, make a play one-on-one, where Ohio State were better. Whereas and now you're still seeing Jim Knowles, even in running downs, he's still bringing pressure from the secondary, still bringing pressure from the linebackers. It's not just passing situations where he's dialing up different things. And so as, this team plays Maryland, as obviously they have a massive 1 and 2 weeks against Michigan, you're going to see even more of some different looks. And, we can touch on the Michigan game, which I think there's some looks that I think they're going to roll out that are going to be differently than what we've seen so far this year. But you have seen the way this defense has grown in just from what they've been putting out there every Saturday.
Yeah, it seems like that's got to be the difficult decision, both for Jim Knowles and Ryan Day. Almost every game this year, I mean, Ohio State can roll out and play base and win on both sides of the football. They know what they're going to be in for on November 26th, and I think it's maybe easier for us to sit back and say, well, there's definitely offensive gadget stuff left. Like, we know that. We've seen things that Ryan Day's done in the past and things he may have cooked up for this one. But defensively, that's a little harder to envision because, like, Michigan is pretty smash mouth and straightforward. So what would that actually mean for Jim Knowles to cook up something special? I guess you're hinting that maybe it's those type of run blitzes that could be involved. But is that what's on your mind? I'm sorry, Maryland, we're not going to pay any attention to you. We're already into November 26th mode.
We most definitely are. We've been thinking 26 after the Penn State game, right? But no, I do think, because I do think it's going to be run blitzes, but I also think you're going to see some gadgets where, Ohio State's been showing 4 down all year long. Granted, they've been showing different safety looks, different linebacker looks, different run blitzes, different games that they play with the D-line and the second level guys. But I even think you might see some 5 down. I think you might see Jack Sawyer come in with, Zach Harrison, JTT, and your 2 defensive linemen, and Zach Harrison moved down to almost a 5 tech. And then Jack Sawyer's going to go into almost a defensive end, that Jack look, and they're going to be able to give him different looks by showing almost a 5-2 and then a 4-3 with walking Jack off the ball. They're just going to do a bunch of things, knowing that Jack's athletic enough that if he needs to match up with a tight end, he can. And so Obviously, we haven't seen that look this year, but when you're playing against a Michigan team that likes to keep their formations very tight, when they like to run the ball, even on passing situations, because they do have a great running back in Blake Corum, who, in my opinion, might be the best back in college football. They're going to try and run the football, especially in that game, and keep the ball out of Ohio State's offense's hands. So as Ohio State, you obviously got to show some different looks. And I think there's some things that Jim Knowles and his defensive staff have in their back pocket that we're going to see.
Lathan Ransom figures to be a pretty big part of that and giving Ohio State flexibility to do some different things. And Jim Knowles, the ability to be more aggressive with his play calling. We're going to take a couple looks at examples of that right now. Let's roll the tape. All right, Zach, here we go. We've talked already this year about Lathan Ransom and how well he's playing. He's a Thorpe Award semifinalist. We're doubling down a little bit, but it's mainly because a couple of these sacks came from very aggressive looks and ones that I don't think we saw a ton of in the previous couple seasons.
No, not at all. And what we're going to see right here is Lathan Ransom's versatility. You talk about him being a Thorpe Award semifinalist, and I think he should win that award, because right here you see this is a cover zero look by Ohio State. Obviously, 4 wide. Cover zero means there is no deep safety. It is man-to-man. Lathan Ransom basically is playing the middle linebacker position. Ohio State showing a 4-3 look right here. They are just bringing all-out pressure. They know, hey, Indiana's got 5 offensive linemen and a running back that's 6. We're bringing 7. We know they can't block one of our guys, and one of our guys is going to be free. Granted, you see here with the defensive line as good as Ohio State has, some of these guys have to double team and sit on certain moves that defensive line are making. So here you see Steel Chambers and Lathan Ransom kind of playing the middle and left linebacker here on your screen, the bottom level, just get completely free, time it up perfectly. The great thing that I love about this, you look at the rush lanes, if you stop it right here, look at where Steel Chambers leverages. This, obviously, the quarterback that came in for Indiana was a running threat. We saw earlier on that he could use his feet and was athletic. Look at these guys still staying true to their lanes. You have Jack Sawyer on the outside. Steel Chambers, instead of coming up inside and trying to make a play, he keeps his leverage and stays to the outside, knowing Lathan Ransom's got my inside. Now you look at this picture, the quarterback's got nowhere to go. He is completely stuck there. He's got no escapability here. This is perfect. This is what you're seeing that's different this year than the years past, is the angles and the leverage wasn't always there, and it gave up the big play. This year, you can see Jim Knowles and how much attention to detail he's making this defense play with.
Yeah, that didn't look very enjoyable for a running back trying to pick up a blitz, or a quarterback who suddenly sees, oh, well, here's Steel Chambers, there's Lathan Ransom, and if I go that way, there's Jack Sawyer. That doesn't look great. And then Jim Knowles would dial up something similar to throw at him again, and it also didn't go that well for Indiana. A little bit different, though. What's the difference, Zach?
You're right. It is different, and it's because of the formation that Indiana's playing right here. Obviously, you see them with a tight end in the hip. You still got the running back, but you still have got these guys playing man-to-man on the outside. You still have got these guys that are showing blitz, and it's almost a green dog situation right here. Lathan Ransom is kind of in the middle of your screen, just above the hashes, right? And he's looking here, and when he sees the running back staying in the block, he triggers. So he's playing this slowly. You can see Steel Chambers here is kind of being the spy. So everyone's playing man with a spy behind it. Lathan Ransom sees the running back staying in the block. He triggers. This is perfect reaction. He's reading it correctly, comes in on the quarterback and makes a sack right here. And if you look at you pause it right there again, look at these rush lanes. These rush lanes are perfect. Obviously, Tommy Eichenberg is blitzing as well, takes up the 2 guys with an offensive lineman and the running back. And now you've got the defensive ends doing their job. You've got Lathan Ransom triggering on the green dog on the back when he sees them block, like I mentioned. This is just perfect defense. This is sound defense. And you still have Steel Chambers there playing right next to the ref of being the spy on the quarterback. This is a perfect defense.
A little read and react on some BuckIQ. It doesn't get any better than that. Buckeyes are doing that much better this year. We haven't had to focus on it nearly as much, Zach. Another example of the versatility of Lathan Ransom and what he can do on this is a pretty straightforward play, but another effective one.
No doubt. And if you pause it, if you go back to the pre-snap, right, we've seen cover zero so much. Granted, on the last play, it was a cover zero with a spy. Now, guess what? We're seeing a cover one. You can see the one high safety. The guys on the outside are playing man-to-man. You've got, I believe that's Ronnie Hickman in the middle of the field, kind of playing center field there. Lathan Ransom, here you go. You saw him blitz. You saw him play inside the box the last 2 plays. Now, guess what? He's playing man-to-man coverage on the outside, almost in this position, playing corner, because Jordan Hancock is going to take the inside receiver here and is almost playing that nickel safety now. Jordan and Lathan Ransom, man, making a play on the ball. You still see the defense doing their job. Obviously, Steel Chambers, Tommy Eichenberg sitting in there, keep an eye on the quarterback. Steel Chambers getting the back, come out, and then breaking, making a play on the ball. I know it's hard to see from the TV deal, but Lathan Ransom showing his versatility. And this is why he's a Thorpe semifinalist. He's able to play in the box. He's able to play the run very well. He's able to blitz. Now he's able to get out and actually have coverage on these guys, even all the way on the outside.
Someday, Zach, we're gonna get the all 22 in a telestrator. I promise. We'll get to that point.
I'm waiting for it, man. I'm waiting for it.
We're going to give you all the tools that you need. You just have to be patient. You've only been doing it for 4 years this way. Okay.
No doubt in 2023.
Special teams. I think this is the first time all year that Ohio State went after a punt. And lo and behold, Lathan Ransom's good at that too.
I was just about to say, I think this is the first time they've seen it. And I know for a fact in practice, you rep this every single week. These guys have been practicing this since fall camp, and they were just chomping at the bit for our guy Parker to say, hey, let's go. Let the dogs eat. And so right here you can see finally Ohio State 28-7. They come out second half. Indiana's punting. Go make a play. Lathan Ransom here again, showing his versatility, able to get off the ball, get a good jump, lay out, take the ball off the punter's foot. Perfect. I mean, this is absolutely perfect. Textbook from what they show from a teaching tape. And yeah, I mean, this is something that they show all the time. And I guarantee you, it goes back to what we were talking about previously. That game on November 26th is circled. The staff wanted to show this. So guess what? It's in the back of Michigan's heads, because as soon as they see this on tape, what do they have to do? They got to practice for it.
Are you suggesting that punt blocks could be critical in the Horseshoe against a rival, Zach? That sounds wild.
Man, I know. That's crazy thinking, isn't it? Crazy. So
wow.
What I guarantee you this look had something to do that they're going to show differently in the game on November 26th. So they're starting to show things, and we've seen it the past couple of weeks. We saw it with the quarterback run. Granted, they needed it against Northwestern, but you saw it again this past week where CJ Stroud kept the ball a couple times. They are starting to show some things, and on defense, that is going to make this team up north think differently come November 26th. And you saw it last weekend, playing a bunch of cover zero, playing a bunch of cover one. JJ McCarthy is not great against pressure, not great against man coverage. They showed a lot of it, and then they might come out in something completely different, but it's in the back in the back of Michigan's minds.
All right, we have one more game to go before we can really get into the game. Ohio State plays Maryland Saturday at 3:30. I think we all want to fast forward you. You don't get that option, but guess what? The next time we do BuckIQ, we will be getting ready for Ohio State in the big one in the Horseshoe on November 26th. Almost here, Zach. Hang tight, buddy.
Man, I can't wait. I cannot wait. But guess what? Take care of business, College Park, end that game by halftime, then turn your focus to that team up north. It's revenge time. Revenge. Ooh. Motivation is the difference maker.
Ooh, Zach is ready now. I'm getting goosebumps ready just for Maryland. I'm so excited to go visit. No, I'm not. We're going to have a ton of coverage once we get done with this one. Zach will have BuckIQ next week to get ready for the rivalry and the game. Until then, for Zach, I'm Austin. So long. Thanks for joining us for BuckIQ.